Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Chief Supo Shonibare. Chief Supo Shonibare, you're welcome, sir.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, that kind of rendition was the rendition that they used to chant at our older leaders, and maybe one is getting towards that age group when really, I suppose they too were in their 70s when we saw them as being older people in the group. My contribution is to say a bit about our leader whose 97th posthumous birthday we honor today as part of the funeral obsequies. So I will read a bit of my text, and then obviously the details I will speak to it. It is with profound gratitude to God, and personally, I feel more gratified and having a sense of solace in the fact that during the evening of the life of our leader, when he was falling ill and getting weaker, one saw in him a man who felt that he had done his bit, he has played his part creditably, and that he had fulfilled what he felt was the mission that was now thrust on him as the leader of Afenifere. We must recall that even before he was someone who throughout his life hardly contested for any position, apart from when he was much younger, that he was organizing secretary of the remote division of Action Group. He cut his teeth as an activist within the Action Group, as a member of the youth wing of Action Group. That youth wing the chairman was Chief Remi Fani-Kayode. And in exchanges, because the most amazing thing about our leader is that one had the privilege to be with him and for a lot of recollections about the happenings at that time. He said, Chief Fani-Kayode, he was organizing secretary, Remote Division. Alhaji Daudu was Mr. Daudu at that time, organizing secretary in parts of Lagos, and several organizing secretaries. Chief Remi Fani-Kayode got them all together, arose their consciousness, and made them believe that they ought to be given better treatment in the party. So one of the first things they did was to go to the first conference of Action Group, and they voted out all those who they felt were close to Chief Awolowo. As a matter of fact, one of the people they voted out was actually my father. And Chief Adebanjo said, even at that time, he was working with Daily Sketch as a reporter. My father was the managing director of Amalgamated Press. So he said he was expecting that after the conference, that my father will ask, at that time, Mr. Onabanjo and Chief Olu Adebanjo, who were the editors, to summon him to his office. But then that my father just reacted in a way as if nothing had happened, which he said made him feel more guilty about what they all had done. Well, consequently, Action Group disbanded the youth wing and asked everyone that was of age to be a full member. So that put paid to youth wing in Action Group. Throughout our leader's life, in his recollections with all of us, he was known as Omo Baba, that Chief Awolowo, one of those people who, come rain, come sunshine, was always behind Chief Awolowo. Chief Awolowo was the center and the essence of his participation in politics. But in spite of that, he was still able to be a critic if the need arose. One of the instances in which our leader was a critic was during the days of UPN, when there was an issue of second term for governors, when it arose. The rumblings at the back amongst members was that, no, this governor should not be given second term. But the leadership of UPN felt that not giving the governors second term will be a destabilizing issue in the party, and that it will divide the party. So Chief Awolowo and the leaders wanted a second term. So at the conference I think was at the Surulere, the National Theatre, I think in 1970, 1980. Before that conference, Chief Adebanjo had gone to the leader to tell him that he didn't think it was a good idea to give governors automatic ticket to contest. And they had a discussion. Chief Awolowo gave him the reason why he thought it was the best way for the party to move forward. Then they went to the main event. Then during the main event, there were some people raising objections about giving governors second term. So Chief Adebanjo too raised his hand to raise objection. And Chief Awolowo told him that, Ayo, I told you this, I've explained this thing to you in private. Then Chief Adebanjo retorted that, yes, my leader, but I also gave you my opinion in private. And that was the kind of person our leader was. Our leader was someone that we had all the attributes that was read out about what was an essential AOIs, I would say, which they had said that was one of the policies and essential ingredients of what action groups stood for, what UPN stood for, and what those who are being subsequent leaders in Afenifere extol. These virtues are virtues of dedicating one's participation in politics to selfless service and the service of the collective. It requires consistently staying in camaraderie with those who are along with you on that journey. You will find that most of those who were the original associates of Chief Awolowo, particularly those who endured the division, the schism during the action group schism, particularly those who endured and stayed, remained as comrades, remained as associates throughout the life of Chief Adebanjo. So one of the ingredients which he represented was being consistent in your political belief. And then he espoused the issue of integrity. Chief Adebanjo could have been part of government. There were several offers throughout his lifetime, but he felt issues, and each time he tells you all that he's trying to achieve, he always points to Chief Awolowo as the reference point as the main figure that he draws his notion of the persona of the person who should be in politics. And these were focusing on issues, focusing on having met and agreed on a particular agenda, a particular program, and making sure that that program is for the good and stability of the entire country, of the people who we are representing. He, in his lifetime, as you all know, was a man that was not acquiring wealth for the sake of acquiring wealth. He was comfortable, and his comfort came from his exertions in legal practice. And he did some business, particularly during the time that the military were in place. I think there was a time that he was importing cement during the time of the military government. His only home is his home. He was in Surulere, then when decided he was going to move to a plot that had been located for him. He sold the house in Surulere and was the resources of that transaction that he used to build his house in Lekki. His other house is his main country home in Isanyo-Ogo. So in celebrating the life of Adebanjo, we must recognize in him a rare breed of politician who remained steadfast in his principle, who remained and resisted the temptations of political expediency, and who dedicated his life to the service of the people. It was a beacon of hope for the younger generation. I'm sure there are a lot of younger people here who have had interactions with him. We know that the first thing he attempts to pass on is to encourage the young people and a lot of women to participate in politics. Integrity was a central core of the values Chief Awolowo tried to present and suggest for a stable polity. Chief Adebanjo, throughout his life, represented that notion of integrity. There was never any scandal. Well, there couldn't have been, because he was not even angling to be part of any government. He said to me at one time that the only government that he might have been part of would have been if Chief Awolowo himself had emerged at the center. Then he would have been quite willingly participated in Chief Awolowo's government. I became acquainted with him from 1982, when I was a junior counsel with Chief J.O.K. Ajayi, and we were handling the election petition of Chief Adekunle Ajasi. He was one of the party lawyers that was coming to join us in court. So that was when I first met him. Then later on, we became closer during the struggle for democracy in Nadeko times, through to AD, the formation of AD in Abuja. But we see one thing with our leader is that as much as he's a very engaging leader, he is a leader who also challenges. When you're going to hold, even if it's just a normal banter with him, we better be prepared, because some of his thought process and some of the things he will throw at you will be fairly animated banter. He also showed us that part of a way of sustaining a political group is for a core group within that group to have the essence of comradeship. Chief Awolowo established that need, and Chief Adebanjo continued to carry that need. He's someone who will not only attend events of members when they are hosting events. He's someone who actually will also even attend the events of relatives of members. He was such a social, friendly leader, in spite of the fact that he may have been adversarial in nature to you the day before. The following day, if he knows that you are having an event, or if he hears that you're unwell, he'll be the first person to come to your home. So it's a great, a lot of us will miss his presence because he was if you look at all the leaders we've had, Chief was probably the only one who can, in engaging with you, can be adversarial. But he was still the only one who would take his time to call you. He's still the only one who would take his time to be present and to show solidarity with you whenever you are having an event. As we all gather here to celebrate his 97th posthumous birthday, I think the takeaway that we can have to continue to commemorate and remember the life of our leader, the takeaway that we can all take is to try as much as possible. It will be difficult to be able to wear the shoes of Chief Adebanjo, to be courageous in pursuing what you think is just and right for society. It entails some degree of being prepared to submit yourself in a developing country to being detained. It's a major attribute for anyone who wants to be part of leadership in Africa. That was one of his attributes. We have to have the attribute of being able to speak truth to power. It's not easy in a country where government is the main business enterprise to be able to speak truth to power. So it takes a particular character to be able to fulfill that role. And that role is essential in any developing country that you want to avoid having a dictatorship. The essential role. The other attribute of Chief Adebanjo is that he was a man who believed that the essence of governance is the development of, well, I suppose in the old days we'll say man, but it would be development of human being. So his political belief, like the political belief of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, is centered on that as the essence of participating in politics, as the need of what one needs to do if one is participating in politics, and that politics should not be a predatory vocation for any of us, and that we must be able to reject and condemn prebendalism whenever we see it being adopted as a system of governance. It shouldn't be something that we just accept as being, well, because it was done before, well, that's the way you have to wrong government. We must begin to interrogate, as he did, things, the ills and things that are wrong in our society. So I hope a lot of us, and in this I'm into a lot of the women, because I think that when the women saw the list of discussions, there were issues that why are there not many? Are there no women in Afenifere? Why are not many women added onto the list? It's something that we would have wished to have been done. But as Chief Adebanjo tried, we are trying to recruit women to come and join us. So hopefully, if we get women to populate us as we will wish, then most surely the women will play the most leading role within our group. So the women that are here, our contact will be at the desk. You're all welcome, provided all of us had all the values of our Afenifere, provided all of us are able to subscribe to those values. You will be welcome. And by the way, even this event, the engine room in organizing this event is one of the ladies in our group, Mrs. Olu Jambola. She's the coordinating person that put this event in place with Mr. Dele Farotimitu. The two of them were the ones, and they're the young Turks in our group, and they're the people who Chief Adebanjo himself particularly identified as those who he will wish to continue to keep the torch burning. So, on behalf of the acting leader and all of us that are here, I will say that we will look forward to many of you, because that's the essence of this event, that many of you will join us in the various chapters where we exist in 7 states in the Southwest. We hope many of you will join us so that the Afenifere will be transformed into the great position that Chief Adebanjo will wish it to be, so that we'll be able to, with our allies all over Nigeria, so that we'll be able to build a political party that truly stands for principles, issues of governance that will bring about a fairer society, a political party that will be a nucleus of leaders who will not see prebendalism as the essence of their participating in politics. So thank you very much. That's what I say. For those of us who are here, I know that some people have identified the fact that our leaders' autobiography is being sold outside, so that before you leave, it's possible. So we will welcome you taking a copy, so you read more about his life and the things he did throughout his journey in politics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Shonibare, for that beautiful presentation on the life and times of our dear leader, Chief Adebanjo. There are